When a group of friends decides to spend the night in a haunted house, they have one of the most exciting nights of their life. Cassie visits a salon to have her hair and makeup done. Despite her unusual appearance, she appears to be very proud of it. Meanwhile, her friend Brandy is engaging in extreme activities with a man, but he falls short of her standards, prompting her to whip him out of rage. Amber goes to the club where she works as a waitress alongside Cassie and Brandy. There, the three prepare for the arrival of the customers. As they walk, they greet their cook, Enrique, who makes disparaging remarks about their appearance. They are, however, oblivious of this because he is conversing in Spanish. Meanwhile, Bunny, the women's trans co-worker, arrives at the club. She welcomes Dale, one of their bartenders, as soon as she walks in. Brandy then instructs her to examine Cassie's eyeshadow, which horrifies her. Brandy laughs that it's a cry for attention, but Lawrence, the other bartender, believes the remark should be directed at her. Cassie changes the subject and asks Amber how her date with the doctor went. She responds that it ended early, leading the others to believe she told him about the plan. Amber intends to marry a wealthy doctor and have one dog and 2 children, Shiloh and Loretto. The others mock her naivete, and Dale wonders if she'll ever find happiness if she doesn't stick to the plan. Amber says no, but Dale claims she's too preoccupied with this scheme to notice her alternatives. Ryan, the pub owner, then introduces their new hostess, Dawn. Everyone greets Dawn, but Ryan cautions the crew not to act strangely around her. He also observes Cassie's excessive makeup and advises her to tone it down. After that, he orders Bunny to entertain the doctors at the table, which irritates Amber because she wants that job. Everyone on the team attempts to make Ryan uncomfortable as he tries to be strict on the team. Bunny receives almost $300 in tips by the end of the night, and she even lands a date with 2 wealthy doctors. Cassie inquires about Amber's plans after work, and she responds simply that her aunt died. Everyone is taken aback, but she assures them that this happened a long time ago and that she didn't even know her. She does, however, intend to visit her aunt's house, which her mother plans to sell this summer. Amber's mother does not want to leave the house vacant until then, so she is free to use it as a holiday home until it sells. She also invites her pals to join her for the summer. Meanwhile, 2 criminals welcome themselves inside the deserted residence. When one of them pees in the pool, an unknown force propels him into it. His accomplice, on the other hand, helps himself to some wine, but as he throws it away, it knocks him in the head. The 2 realize there must be a paranormal entity in the house, which they confirm when things begin to levitate. Other women chose to glance around the house before continuing with their respective interests after work. Bunny, on the other hand, has a date with the physicians and cannot go. Brandy discovers a book beside the entryway upon her arrival, but everyone dismisses it. When they enter, they are astounded by how well organized and clean the facility is. They can't believe Amber's aunt managed to keep it up on her own. As they look around, they come across a photograph of Amber's aunt with a man. They believe the love of her life perished in that house 30 years ago. They fail to notice that the picture rearranges itself as they place it down. Soon after, the women assist themselves to some wine and gather for a selfie, but Cassie discovers that her phone has been inexplicably turned off. Brandy tries her phone, but it, too, is turned off, as is Amber's. Brandy is hesitant to spend her summer there after realizing they are in a dead zone. Cassie, on the other hand, assures Amber that she will accompany her by then. Amber is left alone to spend the night at her aunt's house when the other women leave to go on their dates. She is drinking wine before going to bed when an unseen force touches her. She is both surprised and excited by this. She decides to sleep, however, when she notices that her wine glass is full again, despite the fact that she had just emptied it. Amber goes to bed in her aunt's pajamas after realizing she may be drunk. Later that day, she arrives at work and learns that her coworkers had a bad date, with the exception of Bunny, who shocked the doctors with her secret assets and left them wanting more. While getting ready, Brandy inquires about Amber's night, to which she responds that there must have been a ghost in the house. Everyone is surprised, especially when she says the ghost provided her the nicest experience. The women ask to stay with her tonight because they want to try it for themselves. Bunny is also interested in resurrecting the dead. Cassie also invites Dale and Lawrence, both of whom agree to accompany her. The group goes to the house that night. Before going inside, Dale and Lawrence volunteer to examine the area for safety, and Bunny joins them. They all appear concerned, but Amber assures them that there is nothing to be concerned about. While offering everyone wine, Brandy teases Lawrence, which irritates him. He tells Brandy that if she wasn't so provocative, he may like her. Meanwhile, Cassie and Bunny settle into their rooms swiftly, eager to meet the ghost as soon as possible. Dale then enters the kitchen, where Amber and Brandy are. Brandy informs Dale that Amber had an intimate relationship with a ghost, which surprises him. The ghost tosses a glass above Dale's head as he tries to offer Amber some wine, but he catches it and returns everything to the cupboard. He tries once more to persuade Amber to reconsider her intentions for the future. They physically go closer and almost kiss while they chat, then the smoke alarm goes off. Dale and Lawrence inspect the backyard to assess the house's safety. Bunny runs out of her chamber, accusing the ghost of bigotry against trans women like her. Cassie, on the other hand, had a better experience with the ghost than Bunny. Dale trips over a water hose in the backyard that wasn't there before. Lawrence is amused when pine cones land on his head twice. Then they pass past the pool, where the ghost throws them in. They feel an ominous sensation in the water telling them to get out as they try to swim. Meanwhile, the spirit fully displays itself to Amber by moving random objects in front of her. This amuses her, but she becomes anxious as the men walk in, drenched. Dale tries to explain what happened to Amber, but the spirit kicks him twice. This eventually causes him to leave the house with Lawrence. Bunny suddenly walks towards the door, her suitcase in hand. The ghost closes the door in her face as she rants by the doorway. Brandy now has first dibs on Bunny's room. Amber informs the ghost that Cassie enjoys suffering when they finally get some alone time. As a result, the ghost hits Cassie. However, Amber made a mistake because Brandy is the one who likes it. The spirit then attacks Brandy, which delights her. Meanwhile, Cassie is annoyed by the ghost and is about to leave until it woos her with its touch. Brandy then leaves her room to go fetch some props for her extreme experience with the ghost in the living room. Later, the women enjoy their time with the ghost, resulting in a rowdy but enjoyable night. Brandy wakes up the next morning with her makeup smudged and her arms bruised, but this makes her pleased. After showering, the ghost removes much of Cassie's makeup, revealing that she is already beautiful. Amber awakens to a cup of coffee and a rose on her bedside. When the women arrive at work that day, they are all silent, as if something is bothering them. Ryan finds this odd because they typically want to bother him. Days pass, and the ghost never ceases to delight the ladies. One day, while relaxing in the hot tub, they discuss how the ghost is unable to leave the house, so they plan on inviting some friends over for a pool party. This delights the ghost, who responds by splashing them with water. Later that day, the pool party begins, filling the house with stunning and single women. That night, they all assemble in the living room for a sleepover and wait for the ghost. Then it surprises everyone with its specialty, leaving them all breathless. The party lasts for days, but the trio becomes exhausted and decides to call it a day. Amber discovers the corn sculpture that Dale gave her when they are cleaning up. However, the ghost destroys it as she lays it on the counter. The women go about their everyday lives, going to work and spending the night with the ghost. They gradually discover, however, that they are also developing true relationships with other people. Amber develops a friendship with Dale, Brandy has a pleasant time with Lawrence, and Cassie finally gets along with Ryan. Amber and Dawn happen to walk by Enrique in the kitchen one day. Enrique insults them once again in Spanish, but is surprised when Dawn snaps back at him. Amber then joins Cassie and Brandy in the dressing room, where she informs them that her mother is pressuring her to start a family. She reveals that she, too, used to fantasize about it, but her plans were disrupted by the ghost. Cassie then inquires about the plan, to which she responds that she now has a new one, which is to be happy. They then turn to Brandy and pose the same question to her. She responds that it is the same as it has always been, which is more anguish. Cassie is perplexed by Brandy's preoccupation with pain, so she inquires as to why she enjoys it so much. Brandy mulls over the concept, recognizing that the only thing that made her feel loved was pain. She's not so sure about it anymore. Cassie then argues that they must give up the ghost sooner or later. Brandy and Amber are both bothered by this since they aren't ready to let go. Amber desires children and a husband, but she also desires to retain the ghost. She intends to go on a date with Dale, believing that she can have it all. Cassie finds this humorous because she is also dating Ryan. While the two are gushing over their dates, Brandy chastises them for cheating on their ghost. The ghost throws some shackles and a whip on her bed, but she sweetly requests that they just chill for the night. This irritates the ghost, who storms out of the room. Amber and Cassie return after their great dates only to have the identical experience as they prepare to go to bed. This is of importance to them. The ghost messes with their belongings the next morning, indicating that it is still enraged. As a result, Brandy takes the others outside and tells them to dump the men they're dating. The door suddenly opens on its own, and a powerful gust of wind blows behind them. The women are terrified when they find that the ghost can exit the house after all. Amber blames herself for everything, claiming that she placed them all in danger. As a result, she intends to converse with the ghost when she returns home from work. Brandy and Cassie, however, ask her not go since they are concerned about her safety. Later that day, Amber informs Dawn that she will not be able to service any more tables since she needs to go somewhere. She rushes to the house to speak with the ghost, and when her friends notice, they notify Dale, Lawrence, and Ryan. Amber summons the strength to inform the ghost that everything is over. However, it becomes enraged, pinning her to the wall while lashing out and breaking objects in the room. In other news, the group drives to the house, but Lawrence doesn't put his foot down since he doesn't want to get a penalty. He feels pressed by the gang to hurry up, so he drives as fast as he can. Meanwhile, the ghost has turned hostile and pulls out a knife. It calms down as Amber swears she will always adore the ghost. Everything has returned to normal by the time she opens her eyes, and the room is just as they left it. The spirit then sends their suitcases out, as if urging them to leave. When the gang arrives, Amber is asked whether she is okay. When she says she is, everyone grabs their belongings and leaves the house. They all gather at Amber's place for a small celebration a few days later. Lawrence approaches Brandy and invites her out on a date, which she eagerly accepts. Amber's mother unexpectedly presents them cookies and informs them that the house has been sold. Dawn, unbeknownst to them, had purchased it. Meanwhile, Bunny is tasked with overseeing the club while Ryan and the rest are abroad. The two doctors who are interested in her visit, causing her to refuse other customers. Everyone at Amber's house is staring at a group photo of her aunt. The gang is startled that the ghost has always been a woman,